Hey, David, do you think Mitch McConnell and Republicans will be punished for openly obstructing everything Joe Biden does, as Mitch McConnell has promised to do? I wish I could tell you yes. The truth is, Mitch McConnell might be rewarded for obstructing everything that Joe Biden tries to do. There have been no political consequences for Mitch McConnell and the Republicans of 2016 for blocking the Merrick Garland Supreme Court nomination made by Barack Obama. And not only that, many Republicans absolutely freaking love it. So listen, the framing of the question is correct in that Mitch McConnell has said he's not going to compromise. Mitch McConnell has said Republicans aren't going to vote for anything that Joe Biden wants to do. We saw it with COVID stimulus. Democrats had to go it completely alone. It looks like it's going to be that way with infrastructure. These Republicans want nothing to do with the COVID, the jobs bill, and on and on and on. Now, there's a couple of different ways that it could go. One is these things are popular. COVID stimulus was popular. Infrastructure is popular. If Republican voters see that, hey, we got this stuff and we like this stuff, but not a single Republican voted for it, they may say, let's punish these Republicans in the fall. Because if it were up to them, we would have gotten nothing. At the same time, others would say, hey, you know what? I still got the stuff and I don't even have to vote for Democrats. So I'll just keep voting for Republicans. That's actually a rationalization we may see among many of these Republican voters. I think the biggest risk to Mitch McConnell and Republicans in their obstructionism is that a couple of Republican senators, could be Mitt Romney, could be, the same people that perennially disappoint us, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins. If a couple of them say, these are simple, needed things that Joe Biden wants to do, I'm going to join the Democrats. Assuming Democrats have all 50 of theirs, including Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, and get a couple Republicans, that could start to hurt Mitch McConnell, where you start seeing Republicans abandoning Mitch and saying, no, a lot of this stuff just makes sense to do. We need to do the infrastructure. I like the jobs bill, etc. That's the biggest risk. But Republicans, if they remain unified, can withhold any appearance of bipartisanship in order to try to harm Joe Biden and Democrats. And it could actually work. There's this, bipartisanship in a vacuum polls well with voters. And so while my view of bipartisanship is the president should do things that the American people want, if 70% of Americans want COVID relief, it doesn't really matter if you don't have enough Senate votes. You should do COVID relief. That definition of bipartisanship is very favorable to Joe Biden. The counter is that there are some Americans, and again, I think that people just working jobs and feeding their families, they don't care about this stuff. But there are people who do believe that bipartisanship means you've got to have some Republicans voting for what you're doing. And if Republicans can remain unified, there might be enough of those people in the Republican Party who would say, Joe Biden did it, but he didn't do it the right way. With COVID cash, it's not a factor. I've not heard anyone say, I got my $1,400, but I don't want it because, Mitch McConnell didn't vote for it. Come on, guys, give me a break. But with some of these other bills, that could become a factor. So we're going to see the question of whether Mitch McConnell will be punished for the open obstruction is a good one. The question of whether Mitch McConnell will be rewarded for the open obstruction is just as good of a question.